We're in that unique moment between Christmas celebrations and the New Year festivities, a time to enjoy the last bit of holiday cheer while starting to think about what's ahead. It's a season of indulgence, reflection, and maybe even a little bit of planning for a fresh start. Whether you're feeling the effects of all the delicious treats or looking to reset, today we're diving into a question many of us have. Do post-holiday detoxes really work? Or is there a better way to start off the new year feeling your best? Let's find out together. When it comes to the new year, I know many people use it as an opportunity for a fresh start and really harness the energy, the new year energy that seems to bring a lot of motivation and new beginnings. And some people prefer to just keep going as they were. And either is absolutely fine. It's all about whatever works for you. I know for me, I always feel that consistency is best, and trying to just keep going with what previously worked is often a good way to go into the new year in a way that's going to be sustainable. Because often in the new year, we can have all this extra motivation, which can wane by the end of January. And what we want to do is make sure that we are making changes that we are actually going to be able to keep going with in the long term. For me, a few months ago, I had another kind of fresh start, which was when I came back from holiday and I had some renewed energy, and I harnessed that energy to get into place 2 habits. And this has worked so well for me because they're 2 simple things that don't require a lot of effort and energy. I probably could have done more, but again, I wanted to make sure I was going to be able to keep going with it long term, because otherwise, what's the point? My 2 habits were getting up at the same time every day and doing 60 minutes of walking per day. And the amazing thing that happened as a result of setting these 2 intentions for myself was, 1, not only did I do it, but secondly, a load of other habits fell into place as a result of doing these things. And this is the beauty of keeping things simple. For me, when I focused on getting up at the same time every day, not only did I feel more energized and was sleeping better, but that allowed me to go ahead and do some Pilates most mornings. I'm not going to say every morning because I'm definitely not perfect, but do Pilates most mornings and do some journaling most mornings and just have a better morning routine that set me up for better days. And as I say, I'm not perfect. I've not done this every day, and it's definitely fallen apart a little bit over the holiday season, but those 2 habits work for me, and that is going to be my intention as I go into the new year, focusing on getting those 2 habits back in place, because I just know they set me up for success and they make space and energy for me to do more when I have the energy to. Now, at this time of year, this is the most popular time for people to do things like detoxes. And so I really wanted to dig into this today because we've got to be careful. There are definitely ways that we can cause harm to ourselves, and there's definitely a lot of things out there that aren't good for us. So I want to bust some myths and talk about some healthy ways that we can reset for the new year. We can often enter January feeling not our best selves because of the indulgences, maybe because of changes to our routines, disruption to sleep, and potentially, less activity, as well as maybe a lot of stress, because whilst these weeks can hopefully be a relaxing time, the reality is that for many women, it is a very busy, hectic time with lots of planning and time management, and actually going back to work may well feel like a break from all of that. So you may come into the new year feeling a bit frazzled and feeling like you need a reset, but perhaps not really feeling like you've recharged properly to be able to cope with doing that. So it can be a frustrating time. And particularly when you're in this mid stage of life, you've also got all the other stuff that's going on to contend with, any hormonal symptoms you might be experiencing, fluctuating moods, fluctuating energy levels, maybe irregular periods or heavy bleeding, or just feeling not great. So you've got a lot to contend with. And that's why it's even more important that any efforts you make are going to be impactful. You're going to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to the effort that you're putting in, and also that you're doing things that are going to make an impact long term. Because again, there's just no point if it's just going to be a short term, lose 5 pounds, lose 10 pounds in 10 days or whatever, then yeah, you might feel great at the time, but the reality is the weight is going to go back on. Most of the weight you lost probably wasn't fat. Probably a lot of it was water. And as I say, the weight's going to go back on, and it's going to be harder to shift next time around because doing those types of diets or detoxes are not great for our metabolism. They can cause more damage in the long term. So we've got to be savvy, we've got to be smart. And this episode is all about setting you up for that today. Now, I think we're drawn to the idea of detoxing or cleansing in the new year because of the overindulgence, potentially eating a lot of foods that might be processed, that might not be as clean as you normally eat, and of course, alcohol and sugar and all these things that we know don't do us all that good, and we can feel really motivated to cleanse our body of these toxins. But the idea of detoxing is flawed because we do detox constantly. Your liver is constantly detoxing. Yes, there are things that you can do to support your body's detoxification and to make your liver's life easier. So there's definitely things that we want to do, but doing a quote unquote detox where we are going to the extreme of perhaps restricting calories severely and potentially, doing a lot of fasting and cutting out food groups, maybe having meal replacements, shakes, or taking pills that are apparently going to help you to detox better. These are really just money-making ploys from savvy companies and savvy marketing teams. These aren't things that are actually going to help. And again, they're going to be very, very short term in the results that they achieve. So there's much, much better things that we can be doing to support our body's natural detoxification systems in a way where we don't need to restrict our diet severely and cause that metabolic damage that results in weight coming back on and staying on and being really stubborn. And, particularly for women who are struggling with perimenopause and menopause and these fluctuating hormones, doing a extreme diet like a detox is something that can actually make things far, far worse, because when we are following this type of protocol, it's very difficult to keep your blood sugars in balance. And that is something that if your blood sugars are going up and down all over the place, or if they're consistently low, then this is going to mean that your hormones are all over the place as well. And so you'll probably potentially feel better at first again, but you're probably going to set yourself up for more dysregulated hormones as you get into it or after the detox. Now, if you've ever done a detox and you've felt horrendous over the first couple of days, or maybe not a detox, maybe an extreme diet where you've cut out a food group, something like keto, or maybe you've just severely cut calories, let me tell you why you feel so horrendous. It's not just the lack of fuel. What happens is when you do severely deprive your body of calories or carbohydrates, first of all, your thyroid has no fuel to work with. Your thyroid needs fuel. Your thyroid needs calories and it needs carbohydrates. So when you severely restrict it, your thyroid's got no fuel. And your thyroid is the master controller of your metabolism. It controls how fast we burn calories. It controls the speed of our digestive system. And it also controls the speed of energy production and fat burning. So when we remove that fuel, it's like having an empty tank, and that might sound obvious because we're cutting out the calories, but it's a gland in our body that is actually just gonna not work as it should do. And not only does that make you feel tired, it affects every single chemical process in your body. And we definitely do not want to be slowing down our thyroid when we're trying to lose weight, especially if we want to keep that weight off long term. So that's one of the reasons why we feel horrendous. But another reason is because we store a lot of our toxins in our fat. And when we suddenly restrict calories and we start releasing fat a little bit more rapidly, we release all those toxins that we've stored in our fat. So our fat is not just a storage of energy, it's also a safe place for us to lock away toxins like pesticides, pollution, phthalates, and all the things that we come into contact with in skincare products and cleaning products and fragrances and all these things that I've talked about many times before that can disrupt our hormones. These are things that if we can't detox them immediately, then our body will upregulate fat storage and lock them away in our fat cells. So when we go to the extreme and we cut calories, we suddenly release a lot of these stored toxins into circulation. This is damaging. This is damaging for our cells, it's damaging for our DNA, and it puts a huge burden on the liver. And that means that when you do a detox, you're actually doing the opposite of what you thought you were doing. You thought you were cleansing your body of these toxins, but actually you're massively increasing the toxic load because your body is releasing these toxins into circulation, and you're not doing anything to support your liver in actually coping with that toxic load. And so these toxins, they circulate around your system, causing damage, disrupting hormones, and then they eventually get restored in fat because the weight loss plateaus, because your body is upregulating fat storage to cope with that toxic load. It's a complicated process, but essentially going to these extremes of doing a detox or a water fast or whatever it might be, it just is not good. So let's talk about some better ways to support our bodies after the festive period, or it could be after a holiday, or any time that we feel like we've overindulged and we need a little bit of a reset. It's certainly fine to have a little bit of a reset when we want to just get ourselves feeling a little bit back to normal, but also, when we are getting started with a weight loss journey or the next chapter of a weight loss journey. So the first thing to think about is hydration. If you want your body to clear the toxins in your system, then it's going to struggle to do that if you're not properly hydrated, because we use so many fluids throughout the body. Our fluids are used in digestion to produce digestive juices, and then they're also used as a way to move the toxins, the spent hormones through the liver, through the bile, into the digestive tract where we eliminate them. So if we are dehydrated, we're not going to be doing that efficiently. Our bile is going to be thick and sludgy, and that is not good when we want to be eliminating toxins. So hydration, make it your priority. It's so important. Start your day with a glass of water on an empty stomach. Take one to bed with you so that you've got it there ready to go. And that is a really easy way to get a win as soon as you wake up and to hydrate, because when we've been in bed for 8 hours, we're dehydrated. We wake up dehydrated almost always. And so we want to rehydrate to start our day. Not only is it going to help you feel more energized and support detoxification, but it's also going to help you to drink more throughout the day, because I find, and this is something that so many of my clients find as well, if we start with water as soon as we wake up, it actually helps us to feel thirstier throughout the day and kind of crave water more. So it's easier to stay hydrated as we go through the day. The next thing that you're going to want to do is focus on whole, unprocessed foods. Think about how you can get more greens into your diet, how you can get more fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi into your diet. These foods are absolutely packed with nutrients, with enzymes, with fiber, all stuff that are so important for supporting your body in removing and eliminating toxins from your body. Next, you're going to want to think about doing some gentle movement. Getting your blood and lymph moving is absolutely key to supporting detoxification. And that could mean walking, it could mean swimming, it might mean doing some stretching, some yoga, some Pilates, or just some simple stretching. Moving your body is going to help get that lymph moving so that you can detox even better. And also super important is your sleep. Now, sleep, I talk about it so much, but it's so important. It is when we recover. And if we've had a bit of a testing festive season where we've overdone it a little bit and maybe not got enough sleep, then making sure that we are getting 8 hours, maybe more. You got to do what feels best for you. 8 hours a night is a good amount to aim for, but making sure that we are getting enough sleep is going to enable our body to repair and recover. And there is no better way to get your body running efficiently than ensuring it has enough rest and sleep. Now, the best way to get into 2025 with momentum is to start now. Don't wait until January 1st, start right now. What is something simple that you can do right now to get yourself feeling a little bit better? Maybe it is hydration. Maybe it is waking up and having a glass of water as soon as you wake up in the morning. Start that tomorrow. In fact, go and get a glass of water now. It's never too soon to start. So think about what can you do right now to get some momentum, because waiting to start is just delaying your progress and it's just giving you more work to do when January 1st comes around. So start now, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's having a glass of water, whether it's adding an extra portion of greens to your food. Maybe it's looking on YouTube and finding a 10-minute stretch workout and doing that, or a 10-minute dance workout, or whatever it might be. Do something now and get some momentum. Now, New Year's Eve itself can be a long day, and it can be one that leaves you feeling a little bit rough the next day. But there's some simple things that you can do to make the day easier on yourself, whether it is a day of socializing, a day of eating leftovers, or whether you're going to be dancing until the small hours of the morning. Again, hydrate throughout the day. Let's anticipate that there might be a couple of drinks or maybe some salty foods or something that is going to be dehydrating. Maybe it's going to be a lot of coffee, who knows? But let's hydrate throughout the day to mitigate the impact to some extent of those dehydrating foods or drinks. You might want to choose lighter options for your meals throughout the day if you know that there's going to be a big meal in the evening, or there's going to be a lot of snacky foods or buffet or something like that. So start your day with some protein to ensure that you're keeping your blood sugars balanced and supporting your hormones, and perhaps choose a lighter late lunch so that you are not overindulging over the course of the day. You might alternatively want to do the opposite and make sure that you have a really substantial breakfast and lunch so that you're not as hungry in the evening and you don't eat as much of those processed foods, whatever is going to work best for you. And as always, make sure that you are indulging mindfully without deprivation. If you want the spring roll or you want the vol au vent, whatever it might be, then have it, but make sure that you savor it, you taste it, you are mindful when you're eating it, because that is going to help you to feel more full up and more satisfied by those things that you're having. I know for me in the past, when I've been at a party, I either end up snacking all evening, or I completely forget to eat because I've had a drink and I just find that alcohol completely suppresses my appetite. And neither of those are great. So I find for me, having a substantial meal before I go to a party is extremely helpful. Hydrating throughout the day is extremely helpful. And again, just being mindful and eating a little bit of what I fancy, but not feeling like I have to eat everything, try everything. And going back to some of the tips from the previous episode where we talked about rejecting food in a positive and grateful way, I find those tips are really helpful for me when I'm at a party and people keep shoving food in my face. So some key takeaways: start small, make simple steps. We don't want to be overhauling our diets or our lifestyles. It's so tempting to do. I've done it myself in the past where I've sat down, I've said, right, I'm going to cut out processed foods and I'm going to drink 2 liters of water a day and I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. every day and I'm going to do a workout every day and I'm going to make sure I have 5 portions of veg every day and blah, blah, blah. You know, there's so many things that we could potentially do, but it all sounds good when we're planning it out and we think about how amazing we would feel if we could stick to all of that. But when it comes down to it, it's just not sustainable. It's too many changes. And when we make changes, we need to be thinking about what is a habit that I want to do consistently forever, because if we're going to make changes that are going to last and that are going to achieve results that are going to last long term, then we need to do something that we are going to be able to continue with long term. That's why for me, waking up at the same time every day, doing my 60 minutes of walking a day is the perfect place to start, because I know it's worked before and I was able to be consistent with it. I use a habit tracker app where I can tick off every day and I get a little win every day when I tick those things off, and I can see my consistency, I can see my progress. And I know that when I've got like more than a 4 or 5 day streak, I don't want to lose that streak, and I just keep going and going with it. And in time, those things will become habits that I don't need to track anymore. And then it will be the ideal time to bring in the next habits or start tracking the next habits. So start small, start slow, do things that are going to be manageable. Think about simple things like hydration, like greens, like reducing sugar, and try to avoid that all or nothing mentality. If you've committed to having less sugar, try not to commit to completely cutting out sugar, because the likelihood is that it isn't going to be achievable. It's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to be very easily thrown off track as soon as you go somewhere or bought a gift that has sugar in. So be realistic. Don't beat yourself up if you don't follow through with your intentions. Go for consistency. And that might mean achieving something 4 days out of 7 or 3 days out of 7 to begin with. It doesn't mean that you do everything perfectly every time. So go for just better than you were previously doing. And that, my friend, is progress. And most importantly, don't wait. Don't wait for the 1st of January or to come back from holiday or until all the treats are out the cupboard or until the kids are back at school. You can start now with that one thing. So find that one thing and just go for it. Start doing it right away. Do not delay. You can do it, and you'll start seeing results and feeling better very quickly. Since we're talking about these small changes that you can do now, I'm inviting you for a simple challenge that you can do as a favor for yourself. On January 6th, 2025, I'm doing a masterclass all about breaking the same old cycle of frustration and guilt around your health goals. If you remember Yoda, one of our clients from the Nourish Method who lost 3 inches around her belly and is now doing her best, listen to this.
My pregnant stomach went down by 3 inches. It was just unbelievable. Day by day, I was seeing different changes and getting a constant sleep without any awakenings, not to go to the toilet, not for hot sweats, just to have a 7 to 8 hour sleep every night was amazing. And to wake up feeling like I'd slept.
That, my friend, is my ultimate goal for you. So I challenge you to take one small step today now. As you're listening to the episode, go to bit.ly/F-the-Menno-belly, and you'll find that link in the show notes, and secure your slot, and let's continue your health success in 2025. You deserve to be at your best, even in your 40s.